the real
Brandon,
OG
no.
in the streets in Memphis.
Zach Randolph.
Y'all go to Ja and say, Ja,
Zach,
cut this bull jive out. See,
It has to
we in
come from
these
somebody
streets
like Zach
because we
Randolph.
have to be. I don't think Ja about that life. That looks good. I mean, he went it. That looked good. I mean, the people like, oh man, Ja not like that. I know people that are like that, that'll lay it down like that, but he ain't him.
I put a lot of this on T. Morant. I put a lot of this behavior on him.
I wonder what Stephen A. would say about this topic. As a father, T. Morant, you're looking real bad out there. Save your son before it's too late. Kenyon Martin goes off on Ja Morant's father. Check out what he had to say, and then I'll come back with my comments.
K. Martin, you an elder statesman. You were the voice of reason a lot of times. Sometimes you was unreasonable in the locker room. But if you have a young guy like Ja, immensely talented, and he keeps doing this kind of stuff, what would you say to him, K. Martin?
Let's throw hands.
Yeah, that's the honest conversation, man. Like, you gotta have a rapport with him outside of basketball.
Oh, yeah.
That's first and foremost. You got to be able to relate to him on some level.
Yeah.
So once you have that and you establish that.
Look like Ja, he's on his own vibe right now. He doesn't care what the NBA is saying. He knows that he's being watched more than other players. Yeah, Brandon Brzezinski, I seen a couple clips of him doing a little gesture. Ja's like, you know what? If Buddy Hield can do it and not get suspended, why can I do it? Then he did it a few more times during the Heat game. So he's just stuck in his ways, young and dumb, and maybe he doesn't want to listen to people on his team. So I hear what Kenyon's saying, like, you know what? Maybe the people behind the scenes, his team, maybe those are the only people that can get through to him.
It's being honest with him, man. But at some point, words are not enough.
Right.
And in this situation, unfortunately, I'm starting to see that words and certain things don't matter. No matter who's in his locker room. I think that's why they brought Marcus Smart in, right? Initially, to try to be that.
Yeah, Marcus Smart was a good addition. I don't know why things didn't work out. Maybe the injury situation, but Marcus Smart, Derrick Rose at the time, those are the people that are not too old, that can still ball out, that maybe can get through the job, but maybe he needs more veteran leadership. Who knows? But again, Ja Morant, he's just doing what he wants to do right now. He got all the money in the world, retained his Nike contract, sponsorship, so he's good. He knows as long as he has Nike, as long as he can make 40 to 50 million per year for the next 10 plus years, he's just going to keep doing those idiotic gestures only because he knows he shouldn't be doing it. Who cares if other players are getting away with it? If you know the NBA is like keying in on you, Ja, you got to grow up eventually, bro.
Marcus Smart has had some hiccups. He's been feisty. He's been that in the NBA to try to be that. But when your immediate surroundings and immediate family are not helping the situation, there's nothing that me as a vet can say to you because we all can do or say because we don't. I only have you for a certain amount of time during the day.
Yeah.
Right. I'm not gonna follow you home. I'm not gonna hold your hand. We don't live together. So we don't live in the same complex. We're not doing these things. So I can do everything in my power. But once you leave and once you're around your guys and your family, sometimes those people have more influence than the guys who you should be looking up to or you should be looking for that influence.
Yeah, at the end of the day, your team is who you're going to roll with. You're going to take suggestions. What they say is going to hit harder. Now, your coach or some of the players on your team, yeah, you may be cool with them, but they're not around you as much as your team and your family. So, again, Ja is grown. He should be able to adapt and, learn from his mistakes and don't do the same thing over and over again. So his team can only do so much as well. But I hear what Kenyon's saying. They have the most influence on Ja right now.
And unfortunately, in this situation, that's what it is.
Hey, Kay, and when it comes to players like this, players of this magnitude, players that are this good, players like this that have a certain type of individuals around them, most of the time we call them yes men. I'm gonna just say what it is. You got a bunch of dudes around you that are not going to tell you what you want to hear, and don't nobody want to get their water cut off, as I call it. So I think somebody has to be an elder statesman that's part of the NBA that conducted themselves somewhat in a similar manner that Ja looks up to when he was younger, that played. Now maybe they could get through to him and get it.
Yeah, there's a lot of yes men when you got like a lot of money like Ja. Anybody that's in that tax bracket, they got a lot of yes men around them. If they weren't yes man before, they're going to turn to yes man now just because of the money that's coming in. And what Chad is saying is correct. No one wants to have their water cut off. No one wants to not have their bills paid. So, of course, they may be egging them on like, go ahead, keep doing the gestures. Who cares? If this player did it, that player did it, you should be able to do it too. They're picking on you. But at the end of the day, they allowed you to get back into the league, even though you didn't have any serious offenses. But still, you had a 25-game suspension. And then previously you had a handful of game suspension. Almost lost your Nike deal. If I'm people around Ja, I'm like, look, bro, I know you want to show off on the league, but you don't need to be losing any type of money. You don't need to be suspended when your team needs you the most. He may not have that voice of reasoning in his team. So I don't know, Ja. You definitely got to reevaluate your team. Hopefully he finds out sooner than later. And as far as like a player that may have been similar to him that he can look up to, like an OG, maybe an Allen Iverson. That's like a similar player, similar in play, point guard, the tattoos, the braids. AI was the original. He had some things here and there off the court, but he was really a good dude. You know, he had some controversies. So if AI hasn't reached out to Ja yet, maybe you should reach out to him in the near future.
Get him to understand, the NBA is not against you. You know, there's certain things that you got in trouble for in the past. So there are certain things you can't do or you can't get away with based on past behaviors. That's all. Yes, other players in NBA might be doing, the little gestures or whatever, but they also haven't had issues with doing anything or brandishing weaponry outside of the game of basketball. So it's different. So you held to a different standard. You got to understand that.
Who the OG in the streets? This what needs to happen.
I would say AI.
No,
I would say
I'm talking about the OG, the real OG in the streets in Memphis.
Zach
Y'all go to Ja and say, Ja, cut this bull jive out. See, we in these streets like because we have to be. Yeah. You pretending.
Yeah.
This what we do this real over here. All this, but I'm trying. Who is he trying to impress? Because me personally, I don't think Ja hood. I don't think Ja about that life. That looks good. He went it. That looked good. I mean, the people like, oh man, Ja not like that.
Yeah, as far as someone in the streets that can maybe talk to him, I don't even know if he wants to go that route. Don't even open up that lane because one minute you're getting advice, the next minute you may get extorted. And we already know if Ja get extorted or forced to tell, he gonna snitch. So Shannon's right. He ain't about that life. He's a fake gangster. He's trying to portray this image. The music got him rocking out to where, you know what? I could be that type of guy too. When these young dudes got the money and the power, they feel as though they can be like Scarface or Al Pacino. But when reality hits, they get locked up. They're forced to, provide some information to the police. They're going to be singing like a bird. So at the end of the day, man, Ja, you got too much money, too much influence, got a little family. Put the imaginary weapons down. Stop doing the gestures. Save your brand deals. Continue to get your money and try to win a championship. But I don't know who he's trying to impress, or we're just in this day and age with the young culture. This is what they do. They do those little hand gestures and they try to get as much likes on Instagram as possible.
I know people that are like that, that'll lay it down like that, but he ain't him. You work your whole Kmart. You say you from Oak Cliff. You work your whole life to get out of that environment. Why would you get out of that environment and then try to prove that you still down? No, I'm not down. That ain't me. No, I'm not down. Nope. I left all that. Hey, the Lord blessed me beyond blessed.
Yeah.
He helped me get out of that situation. And then I'm still gonna pretend. I ain't saying you can't have no firearm to protect yourself. Yeah. But it's the people that you don't think got them firearms that'll set fire to you.
Yeah, and again, I know Ja ain't about that life. When Shannon had that altercation with the Grizzlies where he was going back and forth with Ja's father, Ja was nowhere to be found. He let his peoples deal with it. He was in the back, like, scared, didn't want no smoke with the OG Shannon Sharpe. So that let me know then, like, all right, Ja ain't about that, because anybody run up on my pops, I don't care where I'm at, it's going to be an issue. I'm going to try to protect him at least, but Ja, he let Steven Adams handle his lightweight. So if you're Ja, man, you know you ain't about that. Stop trying to portray that life, because eventually someone going to call you bluff. Are you ready to throw your whole career and life away? Ja, he ain't about that, and I think he really need to look in the mirror and be like, you know what? I'm going to stand down, listen to the NBA. I'm going to put the imaginary weapons away and just play ball.
See, the thing is, it's one thing of having it, it's one thing the people that's willing to use it. Two totally separate conversations.
Yeah,
right?
He ain't using that.
and the city that he lives in, they bout that thing, man.
They bout it.
Yes,
like
a lot.
They are. We all know this, man. So
yeah.
And I put this. So I said this on Gil's Arena, man, and I've spoken to said person who I'm about to mention right now. Since I've said this, I put a lot of this on T. Morant. I put a lot of this behavior on him.
Damn.
Okay, you want to let your child grow up. Cool. He's a professional athlete now. Cool. You want to give him a little leeway, a little rope to be him, to find himself, to do all these things. Yes, absolutely. But when it's become detrimental to his career and his brand or who he is, we got to reevaluate some things, son. We got to go back to the drawing board, son. We can't do these things, son. I can't be at the game behaving this way, son. I got to move different, son, so we can do. So all of these things they have to do collectively to change people's images on. So all of these things they have to do collectively to change people's images on Ja, the family, the Grizzlies, all of it.
I wonder what Stephen A. would say about this topic. As a father, T. Morant, you're looking real bad out there. Save your son before it's too late. But in all seriousness, man, T. Morant, if you want to point the blame, maybe you can look at him, but still, Ja's grown. I'm sure T. Morant has had conversations with him, especially at the height of his weapon issues. But at the end of the day, man, Ja, he got to really take heed to the information. Yeah, T. Morant, I'm sure maybe he can do more, but you can only do so much because if he piss off Ja Morant, who knows? He may not get that weekly or monthly check. So even T. Morant, he might have to turn to a yes man. Like, I tried to say something to him. He gave me a little attitude and, I just had to stand down and hopefully he learns his lesson before it's too late. So you can only do so much when you're talking to a grown man. It's on Ja Morant.
It has to be a collective effort.
Right.
Because if not, like we all know, the only thing we respect as athletes is playing time and money.
Yeah.
Yeah, they take that away. It's a wrap.
And these little slap on the wrist and this, that, and the third, like I tell people all the time, man, and God rest David Stern's soul. If this was David Stern's NBA, he'd make an example out of it.
Yeah, David Stern, Ja Morant suspended for half the season. You've seen what happened with Malice in the Palace and all those players that got suspended majority of the season. Think about multiple weapon offenses as far as brandishing your weapon and flashing it. Yeah, David Stern, you're going to be gone. That 25 games would have been double. Everything would have been double. And if he did it for a third time, he may have to try to appeal to try to get back into the league. So, Ja Morant, I know you want to be the toughest NBA gangster ever, but just be lucky that Adam Silver is running the NBA right now. And if you're Adam Silver, eventually he's going to be put in a box to where people looking at him like, how many chances he's going to get this guy? The 75 Ks, the 25 games here and there, the 10 games, that wasn't enough. You may have to suspend him for half the season because the NBA, they're at a point to where they got so much money with this media deal, $76 billion. Do you really want Ja Morant to make you look bad out there? Something to think about if you're Adam Silver.
You're not gonna make a mockery of this logo. You're not gonna continue to make a mockery of this.
Yeah, it ain't happening.
Even as great as he is,
man. That man, when that
he don't care nothing about that.
Don't care. You're not bigger than that logo, man. You're not, as y'all say, the shield, right? No one is bigger than y'all shield, right?
Right.
David Stern carried that NBA logo the same as the NFL shield. You're not bigger than that. He would have made an example out of Ja. Either you listen. This man told me the words out of David Stern's mouth to my ears. Son, if you want to continue to be a part of this NBA, you will change your ways. And this for me fighting on the floor. This had nothing about firearms, me getting in trouble. This is just for me fighting on the floor.
Right.
And giving me this warning.
So that lets you know, if Kenyon Martin had that talk with David Stern 20 plus years ago, just by him being that bully on the court, ready to fight and throw down, imagine multiple weapon offenses if you're Ja Morant. So again, be lucky that you got a soft Adam Silver that's like a players commissioner that's always going to side with the players, try his best to not, drop the hammer too much on these players. But if you're Adam Silver, you're hearing everything that people are saying, really calling you out like you're not that type of commissioner. Eventually, if this continues to happen, I won't be surprised by next season, if he does this again, there's going to be some games to where he gets suspended.
But what you think the message would have been for this situation with this kid?
Oh, yeah.
I don't care about your talent level.
KU was in the league when everybody had, and you remember everybody used to wear the baggy pants and had the tall tees, and David Stern said, y'all gonna clean this issue up. He said, we got too much money at stake, sponsors, advertisers, this is over.
No. Dress code. This man put in a dress code, dog.
Yeah.
Because dudes was coming to the game in throwback jerseys and wearing throwback jersey stuff on the bench. He put in a dress code.
Right.
Hey, K-Bar, I got about 70 of them throwback.
Right?
That's crazy.
Come on, man. We got so it's lessons need to be learned in this current situation with dudes.
Right.
Just recently, the whole gun thing, they find you 75 and you come back and you post pew. Like,
yeah,
it do ignorant, man.
K-Bar,
it ain't enough, man. Like somebody gotta step in.
I hope Ja figures it out, because he doesn't realize how much money he's like actually costing himself with this. I mean, he has the Nike deal, but Nike is the not only brand that pays money.
Yeah, buddy.
They have so many other brands, and he's missing out on so many opportunities. He a lot of times, a lot of people thought he could be the face of the NBA.
Yeah,
charismatic, the way he can play the game. He's a small guy, and the NBA loves small guys. They love guards.
Absolutely.
And he has it. And I just don't know why he wants to perpetuate this type of behavior.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, again, man, Ja Morant being the face of the NBA, I think that's pretty much a wrap, unless he's on the straight and narrow for the next 4 to 5 years and you don't see any type of, flashing weapons or acting like he has an invisible weapon in his hand. Yeah, again, that time has passed as far as him being the face of the NBA, but just as far as him just, paying attention, reading the room, understand that, look, if I keep doing this, I'm going to miss games. I'm going to mess up my future earnings. Maybe that hasn't really crossed his mind yet because he has so much money coming in, so many opportunities, so many companies that are still working with him after that 25-game suspension. So he feels as though if I ain't lose it back then when I was showing the weapons, I'm not going to lose too much, acting like I have a weapon and trolling on the internet. But things could change. Nike could scratch their head, be like, look, we got other athletes in the making to where we can give them Ja Morant's contract, Ja Morant's salary. Why do we need to keep somebody that's, going through all this backlash and controversy? There's plenty of up-and-coming stars to where we can get about 2 or 3 decent players and pay them out as if you were paying Ja Morant. So, again, things may be good for you now, Ja, but if you keep this act up, I guarantee you'll lose everything.